Welcome and hello. Welcome to the Go Plan video library that includes Greenleaf Financial Fitness Series and other financial professional series involved with personal financial wellness. This series, along with other videos, will be posted on our Go Plan and YouTube channel, websites, and other social media outlets. My name is Jim Hiles, and as your host, I think it's important to highlight what financial wellness is and how tools like Go Plan 101 can help Americans achieve their goals and wishes. So, what is financial wellness? It is defined as the overall financial health of an individual. What it does for you is probably most important. It helps you increase understanding all things related to money. It can also help decrease stress, help you make better decisions, and perhaps most importantly, keep you on track as things change in the future. What's Go Plan 101? Well, Go Plan 101 combines web technology and educational content with behavioral change solutions, free software, and a huge resource center full of focused responses. Translation? Simple. Go Plan 101 is a cool site that helps people deal with their money issues so they can do what they want to do. And you also have the capability on our site to talk to a coach or go right to the resource. At the end of the day, financial wellness is only as good as the actions taken. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Greenleaf Financial Fitness Series, 20 minutes to a healthier, wealthier you. Today's topic, Annuities Explained. And as always, these are brought to you by First Capital Advisors Group. First, just a quick introduction, as always, to the people that make these productions possible. First, we have Jamie Greenleaf. Jamie is a partner and advisor with Kafaro Greenleaf. There she is. Jim Hiles here with me today, managing partner with First Capital Advisors Group. And I am Jim D. I am a senior financial advisor here with Greenleaf Financial. So Jim Hiles, why are we talking about annuities today?
Well, I guess there are a number of different reasons, but this is probably the number one reason. 401k plans, which most all of us have been a part of at some point in our careers, hopefully you're a part of now, aren't necessarily filling the gap that we need to fill for a successful retirement. Basically, as this slide says, 401k plans are coming up short when it comes to providing enough income that is needed for an average retirement. The reason for this is relatively simple. The problem we've had in the last 25 years is that corporations have reduced the number or the benefit package to individuals, and one of the benefits that they've cut are pension plans. So a 401k is not a pension plan. We're talking about pension plans of the old-fashioned kind where you got a guaranteed income for life. Only a small percentage of corporations even provide pension plans anymore. They put the onus of investing and managing money to retirement onto the individual. And that's one of the reasons we're talking about annuities today.
Great, thanks. So let's get to the next slide here. So why are annuities so misunderstood? I mean, it's kind of no wonder when you look at these headlines here. I mean, you have people, very sensational claims, both for and against, right? I mean, many of you have probably seen a lot of these. We have on one side, guys like Ken Fisher there, hating annuities and telling you why you should hate them. And, we have other articles talking about it's time to get over how much we hate them. U.S. Department of Treasury has issued guidance to encourage annuities and 401k plans. And, Forbes magazine, you see the headline there, 3 reasons annuities are the unsung heroes of retirement income planning. So with all of this going on in today's world, we thought it was a good idea to try to explain to people what annuities are, how they work. And of course, right in the middle there under the CNBC headline, the Secure Act, which you may be hearing about now, is talking about possibly opening up 401ks to a lot more annuities, and thought people should know about that.
Yeah, we're doing this primarily for retirement funding. And one of the biggest risks to retirement is something that few people are actually talking about. It's called the sequence of return risk. What does that mean? It means that it's almost like you have to be lucky and retire at the right time to have a successful retirement, right? This graphic says that for investor A, if you have bad experience, poor performance on your portfolio early in your retirement, you just don't have the capability to recover. It's just very, very difficult to maintain the level of income as the green line in here is showing, that if you happen to have a positive rate of return in early retirement and a negative experience later in retirement, you're still fine because you've got this magic of compound growth occurring for a long period of time, continuing with plenty of money through retirement. The sequence of return risk is something that is very, very difficult to plan for. However, annuities may provide us with some downside protection that may offset this thing called sequence of return risk, or just being unlucky at the wrong time.
Yeah, I mean, the line here where it says both plans had a 6.6% average annual rate of return. So both investors had the same average returns over time, right? But based on when those negative returns hit, determine whether they ran out of money or not.
Bottom line is, if you have a bad investment experience early in your retirement, it's going to be very difficult to recover.
So yeah, the risk is greater. So let's talk about what exactly is an annuity, right? This is a very boiled down illustration on how annuities work, what they are. So as we see, a premium can be made, paid in a lump sum or in installments. So you can either have one giant bag of money or many smaller bags of money. That you pay that to an insurance company, right? And from there, the insurance company pays out an annuity income. And as the owner, you will receive regular income payments over a specified period of time or until the annuitant dies. So that's in a nutshell what an annuity is.
So I think this gets lost in the translation and understanding that annuities aren't like other typical investments, financial investments. They're not CDs, they're not bonds, they're not stocks. They're unique, and what makes them unique is that they're insured by an insurance company. And the way insurance companies work, if you think about insurance for a moment, the way this works is you have a number of people putting their money together and they pool the risk. And that means that some people are going to live long, some people are going to live normal, and some people aren't going to live that long. The fact of the matter is the insurance company pools together these large numbers so that the risk of living too long or too short is pretty much mitigated, and they can provide guarantees based on that. The other thing that the annuities can provide is the insurance companies have a long time horizon to invest over this large number of people. Longer time horizons generally mean a higher rate of return or higher ability to absorb volatility. Take it this way: if you were investing for yourself and you were conservative, you might want to be very conservative with your money to not lose it. However, the problem with that is you may not have enough growth in it to carry through your lifetime. The insurance companies kind of get through that because of this law of large numbers. This is Dr. Kelly from JP Morgan. He's basically agreeing with this by saying insurers are inherently able to provide higher income streams with a higher certainty that payments will last a lifetime than the average investor can do for him or herself. And that's the bottom line about why these things are different.
I like this because David Kelly is not known as an annuity guy.
Certainly.
Right?
Yeah. He's the head of asset management for JP Morgan. You know, he's a good financial mind. He's kind of figured out the annuities are a part of retirement.
Okay, so let's take a closer look at the law of large numbers and how insurers use that. If someone turns 65 years old today, in order to be 95% sure that you're not going to outlive your investments, you would need to generate income for 33 years. Okay, that means 33 equal payments, and that would work out to $40,209 per year. However, with an insurance company constructing an annuity, they only need to provide an income stream that lasts on average 21 years, which is what you were talking about, Jim, as far as longevity, right? So not everybody lives 33 years. So those who live the longest lives are being subsidized by those who sadly die younger. So the law of large numbers reduces the risk of running out too soon. An insurance company annuity would allow them to pay out a check of roughly $46,218 per year, which is 15% more. So that extra payment, mortality, provides an insurance feature that reduces the risk. So hopefully that makes sense. It's a lot of words, but it's important that people understand how this works.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, you're subsidizing yourself. You got one shot at it. If you're too risky or not risky enough, or if you live too long, these are things you have to deal with on your own. If you pull together with other people, Now you've got their opportunity to spread that risk among multiple people.
Right. So you're either self-insured or you're insured by an insurance company, right? So let's look at these boxes we've seen before in some of our other presentations. And what we're talking about here is matching assets and liabilities. And over here on the left, we see the box that has assets or sources of reliable income. And amongst those are Social Security, pensions, and we see right there income annuities and possibly a bond ladder. And we like the idea of matching our reliable income sources to our essential expenses. And then after that, then you can be a little bit more growth oriented if you want to take your diversified portfolio to cover discretionary expenses. Once you know your essentials are covered, then it's not as important to maybe insure all of the income, but just the essential.
Look, let's just make it simple. You need to figure out how much money that you're going to need so you can count on that money being there, so you don't have to worry about not being able to pay your light bill, your heat bill, to eat for a long period of time. You've got to match your budget with that reliable income that's going to be there as long as you're going to be here. If you have extra over that, that's great. We can invest that and do all kinds of fun things. But again, doing that asset liability matching, what you need versus what you absolutely have to have for the rest of your life, is a really important first step.
Very good. So, just like any insurance, I think one of the knocks on annuities we often hear is that it's too expensive. The fees are too high. And I think what we're seeing here in this slide is basically all insurance is too expensive unless you use it, right? So we insure things like our cars, our health, our home through homeowners insurance. We even have dental insurance. And of course, a lot of people now have pet insurance. So in any one of those cases, without insurance, life would be cheaper, right? But if you're concerned about the what if scenarios that could set you back, then obviously insurance in some cases does make sense. So I like to kind of present it in that light, and sometimes people see it a little bit differently. What about you, Jim? You see it differently in that light?
Yes, I do. The way I view it is kind of going to the next slide. You'll see how it works. Is when you're talking about insuring for income or providing for it, you have some choices as to how you do it. You can have income now. If you want the thing to go turn on now, you can do that. Or you can actually have income later, which means you invest it now, you defer it now, and then at some point in the future, you can pick the income. And then you also have some choices as to how you want the money that you're giving the insurance company to be invested. It's not just their call all the time. You can actually put it into a fixed investment, an index-based investment, or a variable investment.
Right. So let's talk about income now.
So immediate annuities, this is when you say annuity to people, you generally get, this is what the response would generally be. I give money to an insurance company, they pay income right away. I give them a lump sum, they pay me some sort of regular series of payments over a period of time. That's called an immediate annuity, starts right now, makes sense, or an income annuity or a payout annuity. And typically you give an insurance company a chunk of change and you get regular income. Now, there are different things that you can do, different patterns of scheduling that you can do with the insurance company depending on how you want it. And you'll find when you get into the actual details of how you want to get paid out, you have some choices. You can do it in 10 years or 20 years or single life or joint life. These are things you want to look at to make sure that you're covering your financial planning. Deferred is really kind of the other side of this, which is, let's say I don't need to retire right now, but I want to retire in 5 years or 12 years, or whatever the number is. I want to invest money inside this income annuity until I'm ready to start taking those withdrawals out. This allows me to accumulate money inside the investment of the insurance company, whatever that investment choice is. And then I simply convert the annuity to an immediate annuity when I want to start collecting the payments.
Great. So how's the money invested? I mean, if we look at different types of annuities, the money is invested differently. With a fixed annuity, basically it's a CD-like investment. But it's issued by an insurance company instead of a bank, and it has a guaranteed rate of interest. Fixed annuities are very popular for people who are retired or very, very close to retirement, who want a reliable income to supplement their other retirement income, or they are just only comfortable with a guaranteed rate, fixed rate. When we get into variable annuities, they're obviously a tax-deferred retirement vehicle that is used much differently than fixed annuities typically. You get to choose your investments that are inside the contract. And as far as the income, that's usually paid out determined by the performance of the underlying investments.
So let me ask you a question here. So the variable annuities, kind of more like a 401k plan, where I get to pick among certain funds that are inside the variable annuity to invest in.
Right. There's a limited number of mutual funds. They're called sub-accounts in a variable annuity that you can choose from.
Okay, so exactly. I can build a portfolio, or I can be aggressive or conservative, whatever I want to be. And then my performance on what I'm doing with the portfolio allows me to accumulate whatever that rate's going to be, right?
That's right.
Okay, so now if I happen to grow more than the fixed rate, for example, then I should have more potential income in the future. There's your kind of trade-off between the two. Right?
That's right. So there is some upside cap potential there. So you and I both know that we get into the variable annuity products, and there's a lot of different bells and whistles that we're really not getting into here today.
Good.
Talk about equity index annuities. These are probably more popular today than they've been. Tell us a little bit about how they work and the floor and the.
So this is kind of the combination where you've got a floor guarantee plus you have some upside depending on what an index is doing. So it's kind of that little bit of both. So you say, I want to get this floor to make sure I get some payment. On the other hand, I realize that I got to be somewhat growth oriented. I want to participate in the index. This gives you a floor and a cap, and it's another way to look at how you can take advantage of equity-like participation.
Right, and the caps are oftentimes, on a really good market year, a lot less than what the market may do that year, I would imagine, right? So how can you own annuities? So what are the advantages and disadvantages of owning annuities? One way you can own them is inside a retirement plan or a qualified. And as I mentioned earlier, with the Secure Act, we're going to see more and more annuities being available inside 401k plans. So that's inside a retirement plan or qualified. And then, of course, you can own annuities outside a retirement plan or non-qualified.
Well, the other thing to realize is that annuities can be owned in your IRA as well. So when you say retirement plan, let's expand that out to individual retirement accounts, which are qualified plans in the sense they're qualified for annuities in that sense. Outside the retirement plan is really just personally owned, something that we call it non-qualified. So we're going to talk a bit about the benefits of that.
Sure. And so that brings us to annuities in IRAs, right? This can be controversial, right? We hear a lot of pros and cons and debate about this topic. And, I think a lot of times people get hung up on annuities being tax deferred and that being the primary reason for owning them. But if you're retired or close to retiring and you feel like you need more guaranteed income than Social Security is going to provide, and if you don't have a pension, that's all the guaranteed income you're going to get is from Social Security. Sometimes it can make sense to use a portion of your 401k or an existing IRA to buy an annuity that will pay income for life, right? It's that simple.
Yeah, you need to get to your desired result, as we said in the beginning. When you match those necessary expenses with guaranteed income, you got to pull it from use the IRA money, or it's something that we typically see. What happens is the 401k retirement is rolled over to an IRA. It's not unusual to have the IRA at that point, if that is a source of money, to become the place where that holds the annuities and provides this guaranteed income for life.
So it's not about the tax deferral at all in that case. It's about the guaranteed income.
Sure. So in this one, pros and cons, you continue on the same theme. If you have a non-qualified annuity, you just own it on your own. It's outside of an IRA, outside of a 401k. You can contribute a ton of money in this thing. There's no annual contribution limit like you're subject to in a 401k or an IRA. So this is very useful for people who are kind of behind their retirement goal. You can use this to sort of catch up, because the money that goes inside this is going to be able to compound inside the non-qualified annuity and grow tax deferred. When you get to retirement, you can take it out a number of different ways, either in a lump sum or withdrawals like we've talked about, or guaranteed payments for life. So you can use this annuity as a source of saving additional funds for retirement plans. It can be used to complement other retirement sources like Social Security and pension plans. The cons of annuities, which you hear most in probably the media, is the expenses. And there are expenses in annuities. There are things called surrender charges. Some annuities say that when you go into an annuity product, you can't get out of it, or you surrender some of the money that we're basically reimbursing for the upfront expense of putting the thing in play. They have fees. We've talked about the insurance. Well, the insurance is great to have, but it typically costs money to have the insurance. If you go back to Jim's example of having the pet insurance, you're paying the premium to get the pet insured in that particular case or whatever. But you also have investment management fees, or investments that you're putting money into. These are somewhat similar to other investments you're going to find out there, but be aware that there are fees in there. And there are extra riders that you can buy. Now, these are the bells and whistles. When you look at the different insurance annuity contracts, they have all kinds of bells and whistles to get involved with. And if you decide to choose them, you don't have to take them. But should you decide to choose one of these riders, then they will cost a little bit more for the benefit of whatever that rider is.
And those can get pretty complicated in our experience, right?
Yeah, I think you need to be careful. They're very difficult to put apples to apples. And I think that's one of the things that we try to do as advisors, and particularly independent advisors, is you kind of lay these things out and you try to get to an apples to apples comparison. Sometimes it's just difficult because they're not exactly the same. Everyone has a slight different edge here and there, depending on what you're trying to promote. A couple other cons that happen generally with annuities, they're subject to a 59.5 age limitation in terms of withdrawals of a 10% penalty. It's similar to what you'll find in IRAs, for example. And just from a taxation standpoint, keep in mind that any interest coming out is going to come out first. Generally, that's ordinary income and before the earnings come out.
Right. Okay. So that pretty much covers us for today. So let's just, in summary, first of all, we'd like to encourage everyone to start with a plan. You got to determine what do you need and what do you want. That's a good way to start, is how much income am I going to need? How much do I want? Identify what those sources of income are going to be. Nail them down as close as you can, and understand your personal risk tolerance. How much do you want to self-insure that income in retirement? How much do you want to offload some of that risk to an insurance company? And all of this is obviously so you can live the retirement that you want. Thank you, and have a great day.
So we covered a lot of ground, and let's just summarize. It's time to put this information to work. We live in a wonderful and a free country, but it's up to us to take responsibility and move forward, particularly on our personal financial wellness. So let's take some action here. Let's go and explore this financial stuff. Take a buddy with you if you need to. Have some fun. Learn a little or learn a lot about what you can do financially. These videos and websites, I hope you enjoy. I think they're great. But if you're like me, sometimes you just want someone to talk it out with. So seek out coaching from our site from professionals who've been vetted to provide you with complimentary initial consultations as being part of the Go Plan 101 experience. If you've not started your planning, or even if you have, use today's video to explore the area of concentration. Make sure you understand how it impacts you. My favorite quote is, life doesn't go in a straight line. You need to stay on top of it. So consider subscribing to our newsletter or our YouTube channel. Please reach out to me if you want more help or have questions. And lastly, thank you for listening. Now, go plan and go attain your financial wellness goals. Jim Hiles signing off for today. Take care.